大家好，歡迎收睇明報網上海外升學展嘅講座。我係今日嘅主持李大偉 David。咁咧，今節咧嘅時間咧，咁我哋就講關於一啲監護人嘅一啲嘅注意事項。咁大家都知道啦，如果去海外升學嘅時候，監護人咧都係好重要嘅。咁究竟我哋點樣去揀監護人，又或者去揀監護人嘅時候，需要注意啲乜嘢咧？咁我哋今日好高興咧，就請到來自英國StudyLink 嘅 Ailie Fan， 咁咧就而家咧喺英國嗰度同我哋做一個直播。我同佢 say 個 hello 先 ，hello。咁咧佢都識一啲嘅中文嘅，咁我知道咧佢嘅中文名咧叫做范欣，係咪啊？
啱。
哇，非常之好。
爸爸係香港人。
哦，你都係爸爸香港人，哦，所以一陣間咧都會有一啲嘅時間咧，咁咧就交俾佢咧做一個分享。咁咧佢都會同我哋介紹一下英國嘅監護人公司啦，同埋如果你去英國留學嘅時候，需要點樣去揀選一啲監護人嘅時候咧，佢都會同我哋分享嘅。咁咧而家咧我將個時間咧交俾阿范欣 Ailie， 好唔好啊？
大家好，我係范欣 Ailie Fan。我係 StudyLink 監護人。咁我想解釋你點揀個監護人公司啦。咁你知我爸爸係香港人，媽咪就係英國人。咁用英文傾 O 唔 OK？
可以嘅。
Thank you. So guardianship, how to choose a guardian is very personal. It's very important that you choose a guardian who suits you and your child. Every guardianship company is different. We do similar things, but how we work together is very individual for each family. So you need to find a guardian who suits you, who you feel you can trust and you feel comfortable with. So guardianship. How to choose a guardian. This is 呢個係我爸爸同媽咪啊，俾你睇。So, first, it's important to understand what's the difference between a guardian and a homestay. Some people mistake the homestay. They think the homestay is the guardian. That's not always the case, and most of the time, the homestay is separate to the guardian. So the homestay is a wonderful family who will welcome your child into their home, treat them like family, provide the bed, provide the food, provide the entertainment, feel like a loving home. But they won't always be the guardian, because the guardian is someone who must be available 24/7. Every day of the year, they must be available. They must understand the culture. Well, I believe they must understand the culture of the students that they are looking after. They must understand both education systems. So for the Hong Kong students, we need to know the Hong Kong education system and how it fits with the English education system. So the homestays won't always have that knowledge. So the guardian is someone usually more experienced, usually a professional company who can be available 24/7, and someone who often can speak your language, can understand why things are so important to you as a family, which maybe English people don't always understand. And it's our job to make sure that your child is comfortable in the UK, because we know both cultures. Okay. So, who needs a guardian? The schools in the UK usually require all their students to have a guardian. I will talk a bit more about that later. But a guardian should be available for any international student, basically. Someone who is in the UK without their parents. The reason that we need that international students need a guardian is because if there's any emergency, firstly, that's the most important thing. So an emergency could be things like a transport emergency. Maybe they're going home, but then the flight's cancelled. The school is closed, so where does the child go? You don't want them to just stay in the airport all night long, so they need somewhere somewhere to live, and they also need someone to take care of them. So someone to help rebook the flight, make sure that they're safe, that they've got food. There may be other emergencies, like educational emergencies. So maybe a student, in the worst case, is suspended from school or expelled from school. That's a very challenging time. And when the child is away from their parents, there needs to be someone who cares for that child and supports them and explains what is happening. This may be something that they've never experienced before, but they need support now more than ever. So someone who has that experience can explain to the student what to expect and how they will be supported is really important. And also really important for the parents as well to know to have confidence that the UK guardian will take care of their student or their child like their own child. I think that's really key in emergencies. Other emergencies are medical emergencies. So from small things, maybe they've broken an arm, or maybe they've got a virus and the school have asked them to be in quarantine. These things do happen, and the guardian needs to be someone in the UK who is available to take that student immediately. It must be immediately, because the school cannot risk the other students, and the school needs to be able to rely on someone to be there, as well as the parents, as well as the student. So who needs a guardian? Any international student where the parents aren't in the UK. That's usually the guidance on guardianship. And it's usually for any age, certainly boarding schools usually require any age of student to have a guardian. A very small number of schools say that the students over 18 may not need a guardian, but that's important that you check when you apply to the school, what are the guardianship requirements. Usually the professional guardianship companies work across the UK, and so the availability is everywhere. Okay, so why do schools say international students need a guardian? I touched on this slightly. The reasons primarily is for emergencies, but it's also to make sure that the students can fully integrate into the UK education system. Just because a student successfully applied to a school, that's fantastic. They then need to, maybe they were the best student in Hong Kong, maybe they were the most confident and the most intelligent and the most outgoing, all those things. They may be what seems like the most successful in Hong Kong. Does not necessarily mean that when they come to the UK, they will also be the most successful. It requires making sure that they have the support to integrate into the new culture, into the new education system, have confidence to make friends, confidence in their English, and the skills to adapt to the UK education system. So, asking questions, have creative thinking, all those kinds of things that people choose the UK education system for. It takes time to adapt. So the schools want a guardian who is there to help students with that. Often as well, because the schools are, they rely on someone 24/7. The parents aren't always available 24/7 to contact. You have jobs, you have to sleep, all those things. Whereas a professional guardianship company, they are available 24/7. So that if the school has an emergency or the parents, then someone is available to help. Another thing that's really important about guardianship is the support, I think, for the parents, actually. Your child is thousands and thousands of miles away. This can be, you have a brave face for your children. You send them away thinking, you go and be brave, you go and be brave. And then at home, I know I've seen this where actually the parents are not so brave, they are encouraging their child, but themselves, this is a new experience for them too. So the guardian has to understand that and has to provide some support there, keep the parents informed what's happening to their child. The child may be loving life in the UK so much that they don't get in contact very much, and the parents may be worried of what's going on, So the guardian would keep in touch, would help explain things like school reports. The grading system is very different in each school and will be different to Hong Kong as well. So our job is to explain, okay, well, what does a grade C mean here? Maybe it's very different to what grade C means in Hong Kong, or grade 1, what's grade 1, all those kinds of things. It's our job to reassure parents and support them, as well as obviously doing that for the children, explaining all of that to the children is key. So I'll move on. So yes, emergency side, there's that academic side. And this is really important, of course. So when the schools close boarding schools close for half term, for Easter, for summer and Christmas, for most of the big holidays, students tend to return home, but not all. But usually the half terms and some exit weekends, the students generally, they stay in the UK. It's too far to go home, just for a short period. And also there's a huge benefit of staying in the UK. From our experience, how long, 22 years now of acting as guardian, you always see the biggest improvement in students' confidence, in their English ability, and therefore, because of the confidence and the English, you see an improvement in their grades. And that's from students who have stayed in the UK, who have focused on improving their English and have focused on interacting and being part of the UK culture. So Homestay provides a fantastic opportunity for students to experience the UK without it being so formal in the school. So during these holidays, they can relax. They don't have to worry, was the grammar correct? They're not in an English lesson. This is the time to learn the conversational English, and build their confidence, feel more relaxed, and therefore that's when the learning really can be fun, and therefore the progress can increase quite quickly as well. So schools need a guardian for not only during term time to help students adapt to the education system, help in emergencies, but also when the school closes, the school need confidence that the student is somewhere safe during the holidays, because the school also has a responsibility during the holidays. Because of the visa requirements, they must know where students are and they must have confidence that they are somewhere safe. So that leads me on to, can an older student in the UK be the guardian? So this will depend on the school, and it's always worth checking the school's rules. Some schools will have a minimum age of the student that the guardian must be. So for example, some schools it's quite low, it's like 20. Most schools are 25. The age for guardian is 25 or 30 years old, and some schools even have the minimum age for the guardian must be 35. And they often ask proof of ID to confirm the age of the guardian. The reason for doing that is they want someone who is competent, who is focused on the well-being of the child, not just, maybe they're 19 at university or something. Is that really the right thing? Which I will go on to. So next, can a family member or can a family friend be a guardian? This is a very, very popular question and a very popular selection that families choose. They think, 我有親戚喺英國，或者我有個朋友個朋友個朋友喺英國。So they choose this person who is to be the guardian. So yes, actually, the answer is a family friend or a family member can be a guardian. I don't know of any school who will stop that, because how could they? You know, there are many advantages actually to a family member or a close family friend being a guardian. I wouldn't say not to do that if you can really trust that family member. So I'll give you a bit of background to Study Links. So it's quite a long history, but I think it's really relevant for this part. So my dad, he came over as an international student when he was Saploxai. So he came over, he they went to university, then then, you know, got married, had children, and then they decided, right, where do we want our children to be educated? So they decided on bringing them back to the UK. So that was my but with them, when they came back to England, my so they needed a guardian. So this is the bit that I wanted to say. Our business, our family business, started because my parents were guardians to our family. You know, it can absolutely work, and it worked for them. They were with us for many years, and from there, that's how the business grew. You know, we had our other family members, and then their friends, and then their friends. You know, and that's how we started many years ago. So a good guardian can absolutely be a family member. You understand deeply what the expectations of the parents are. You feel confident, or you should be able to feel confident in, you know, helping support that student. But it really depends still, just because they're a family member, there are things to consider more than just, oh, I know them. There are things I mentioned before, you know, about being available in an emergency. Can that family member definitely be available? I think these are key questions to ask. If something went wrong, would you, as a parent, would you feel okay about ringing this family member up at any time of day? Would you feel confident about telling them all the details if something has gone wrong? You know, maybe it's bad behavior, maybe it's something quite serious. You know, it depends how close this family member is. Okay. But yes, I will be honest, absolutely, you can choose a family member and it may be the right thing for you. So consider it carefully. So then I've gone on to, should a family member or a family friend be a guardian? So this is where I said, you know, weigh up the advantages and the disadvantages. So as I mentioned, the advantages, 100% that family member, they should know what you as the parent and as the child, they should know what the expectations are, and they will hopefully provide a very loving home and a loving, you know, support system. The disadvantages, from what I have seen, are, as I said, sometimes it's challenging for parents to ring this family member or ring this family friend when it's a situation which maybe you don't want the whole family to know, or you don't want this family friend to know. Maybe it's a bit private. Maybe, you know, your family member or this family friend, so this guardian, has got another job. Maybe they're a full-time lawyer or, you know, own a restaurant or anything. That means that they are not available 24/7. So how can they provide the full guardianship service that the school expect and that your child deserves in an emergency? Surely your child needs someone who will be able to put down everything. So these are things to consider. And also it's about finding the guardian who's got the experience as well. So things to consider would be, does the guardian know the English education system well? Have they taught it, have they got any teaching experience so they can identify where students are struggling, where your child is struggling? Do they know the best way to approach a school? If there's a challenging question you might have as parents, often, as us as the guardian, when you say something in Chinese, if we translated it exactly the same into English, the meaning would not be received very well necessarily by the school. So the guardian needs to understand both cultures, both languages very, very well to make sure that what you mean is communicated well to the school so that you can get the result that you need or the answer that you need. I think that's really quite critical. So something to consider when you are choosing the guardian. And then I just put this one in because, like I mentioned, sometimes we have seen it where someone writes on the school form, the guardian is, James Smith. And sometimes it's someone they met on the plane and they say, can you be the guardian? Or sometimes it's just, as I said, a friend of a friend of a friend, someone they've never met before. And sometimes it really is just a name they have chosen and they thought, just write any name. Well, but if you are very, very, very lucky, firstly, often now the schools are checking, they are ringing the guardian to check, is this a real person? Because they know that families do this. The schools have an obligation to make sure that children are safely looked after during holidays, so they check that way before, is the guardian a real person? Then the second thing is, most importantly, the guardian should be there for emergencies. I said that at the very beginning. Fundamentally, I believe that the most important thing that a guardian should do is be able to help in an emergency. If in an emergency, your family, friend, or whoever it is does not exist or doesn't really remember you or doesn't know how to help or isn't even in the UK, maybe they're on holiday, then what do? We often, StudyLinks, we receive a lot of phone calls from our partner schools who ring us and they say, StudyLinks, please can you help? We've got an emergency guardianship situation. We need you to be the guardian temporarily because the real guardian does not exist or is not available or they can't do the job. They're not in the UK or they're too far away. We need this student to be taken care of now. So we know that this happens where parents rely on someone who cannot be relied on. It puts the school in a difficult position. It puts the child in a difficult position. And then it can damage the relationship between the school and the parents as well, because that trust is damaged. So I really think it's important for the welfare of children, to make sure that there's someone reliable. Okay, but ultimately it's the family's choice. I would just say these are things to really consider. Okay. So why choose a professional guardianship company? There are a number of professional guardianship companies in the UK. And for the reasons I've given, I think it's, of course, I passionately believe it. This is a family business and I live and breathe guardianship. And I wish I could, open my heart and show you the passion for it, because it's so important, I think, for students who are so many thousands of miles away from home, that they have someone that they can rely on, that the parents feel comfortable with, that the parents trust. You as parents, you've got to find someone who you think, right, in an emergency, if the school cannot get hold of you as parents, you would feel confident in what decision the guardian will make, whether that's a medical emergency when they're at hospital, or educational. You know, if the guardian like us has to go into a school meeting, you must feel that the guardian can fully represent you and your what's important to you and your beliefs, your ideas about education, what journey you want your child to go on. You want all of that to be understood way in advance, you know, all the way through the academic year. That should be an ongoing conversation, and it will change, you know, as the guardian gets to know the parents and the child more, and as a student becomes more confident in the UK, they will know what they want to do more, and guardians will help facilitate conversations between the student and the parent, so the child and the parent, to make sure that everyone's in agreement. You know, it's always the most sad when students want one thing and the parents want another. But ultimately, the parents want what's best for the child. It's just that there is some communication not quite getting through. And I think that when you're so far away, it's easier for that feeling, you know, to happen, where you think, oh, I'm not, you know, have I missed something? Have I not understood my child quite right? So that's where an experienced guardian, a professional guardian can, you know, you bridge that gap, you bring you closer together. Just because of our experience with so many other families who are going through this situation. It's a fairly unique experience that international students and their parents are going through. And I think for that reason, it deserves that extra bit of attention. And, you know, you spend so much on choosing the right school, and therefore just spend that little bit extra time choosing the right guardian, whether that is a family member or a family friend or a professional guardianship. But from a professional guardianship company's point of view, there are also very, very many different ways and different approaches that we take. So finding one who you feel comfortable with is really key. Someone who will adapt to your family, and not just, you know, we treat all the families the same. Here you go. This is the service. You choose one. That's it. Yeah, we have services, absolutely. But it's about then making sure that that service is right for you. Okay. So that's it, really. I just wanted to give you a brief overview of guardianship, the importance of guardianship, and I very much look forward to any questions that you have in the live session and the questions now. Thank you.
OK， 唔該晒。好啦，咁我哋咧就都收到一啲嘅觀眾嘅留言啦。咁咧喺呢度咧都可以問一問你，幫佢哋咧解答一下，好唔好啊？
好。
好，我睇下有啲咩題目先。包括咧有呢一條，我諗都上星期開始，英國嗰啲 boarding school 嗰啲中學咧都需要停課啊。咁如果監護人咧有啲乜嘢支援可以俾到佢哋嘅咧
？Okay, this is a perfect question. Really good example of why guardians are important. So this is an unusual time. Schools are closing. So what can the guardian do? Firstly, it's about reassuring the students. The most important thing is make sure the student feels comfortable. Try to remove that any anxiety. You know, it can be a very worrying time for students. So we need to keep calm. It's our job to be as calm as possible and give. I believe, we must find the information, the reliable information for the parents. There is so much information coming in from the media, from other students, parents, from friends, from the school, from the governments. You know, there's so much information, but which information should the parents and the family make a decision based on? So our job as the guardian is to from all of that, mess, really, pull the bits that are most important and present it in a way that is clear, is understandable, and is right for their child. You may have 2 students at a school and all of the information is the same, but because of the child's circumstances, each one may make a very different decision. And I think that's our job as the guardian, to make sure that we are focusing in this time of emergency on that individual student. Do not forget that, we can't forget that every student is different and their family is different, and how we support them will be different for each one. So talking about, the specifics of how do we help, there is things like booking flights, trying to help with booking transport. If the flights change, like now there's lots of cancellations of flights. There are students even getting halfway and then being turned back to the UK. This kind of thing can be, a little bit stressful for the parents. Our job is to remain calm, to reassure them and provide any service which will make sure that the student is safe. The student always must be safe at the first point. So if the child comes back to the UK because they've got stuck and come back, then we must find the right homestay for them. So homestay families for professional guardianship companies are always fully checked. We do police checks, we do regular visits, we keep in touch with them all the time. They are provided training, that's important, more than just, okay, well, maybe the parents could book a hotel. Yes, maybe the parents could book a hotel, but you need to consider that individual student and whether it's right for them. So other things as well, at this time, it's, well, if the schools remain closed for a long time, which it looks like they may, then what support is there then? Because the parents are then looking after the child at home. So this is about, if the student is learning online with the schools, first, our job, I think, as guardian is to make sure that they totally are able to access all of the lessons and they understand everything that's happening. If they've got any problems with the connection, all that kind of stuff, very basic things we can help with. And then it's about continuing our support. So our academic support is things like, are they struggling in any lessons? Can we help communicate things with the teachers? Can we help explain things to the students more, explain things to the parents? So academically, that's a big thing. And then pastorally, that's things like, keeping the children motivated at this time. So we're doing things like, sending them links for, how to do a good timetable to keep routine in your life at this time. Keeping exercise in there, how to do exercise at home, healthy eating, that kind of thing. And also the biggest thing, I think, parents are choosing the UK because you want the education system, but you also want the UK experience, the culture. How do you get that when you're learning remotely? So our job, I think, as guardians, as well as the school, is to make sure as much as possible we can continue providing that experience. So things we're doing, is, regular one-to-one sessions, speaking English, giving them opportunities for conversations, so improve their speaking and listening, sending them really key information about UK culture, talking them through it, and trying not to let them miss out as much as possible. So, yeah, critically, at the first point when this happened, it was about making sure everyone's calm and everyone's got the right information. That is really key. Then the parents can make an informed decision. Okay, and then now when the children are either living in homestay for long term now, or many students have returned home, it's now the job for the guardian to support them with their ongoing studies and whatever that looks like. And the guardian must be able to adapt because every day is changing. So that's it. The parents can hopefully rely on someone to do that.
OK， 好，我哋時間關係咧，我哋問多一條問題嘅啫嚇。Last one 嚇，咁就係如果我唔滿意嗰啲監護人嘅表現咧，咁想去換佢，咁有啲咩手續，有啲咩需要留意咧？有啲咩 procedure 去 change a new one guardian 咧
？Okay, so it should be very simple actually. But first, I would encourage anybody with any guardian, try to resolve the situation first. What is the problem with your current guardianship service? Can you not communicate? Are they misunderstanding something? You know, what we don't want, or nobody would want this, is if you are unhappy with your guardian, you don't communicate, and then you are then unhappy at the next one because nobody knows what the problem was. So I would encourage anyone to first speak to your current guardian and try to be honest, be open. Then if really, you know, sometimes it just does not work. So in those cases, you should give as much notice as possible to your current guardianship company, because usually they have, like the schools, 1 term's notice. So if give as much notice as possible, then you won't have any cancellation fees. And then do that by writing, and then you can apply to the next guardianship company as well. So that's it.
OK， 好，時間差唔多啦嚇，咁啊亦都多謝阿 Ailie。咁我哋咧就仲可以大家咧再發問問題嘅，咁大家咧可以繼續留言，咁可以咧繼續可以俾 Ailie 問下一啲關於監護人嘅嘢嘅。咁呢一節嘅時間咧差唔多啦，咁我哋咧要同觀眾咧講拜拜啦喎。咁啊多謝喺英國嘅我哋嘅朋友，
多謝你哋，拜拜，拜拜。